Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Where we're from, the 12 tribes of Israel, 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. A highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children sold us. Of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers, I had a piece of paper with some stuff written on it. That's it. A higher gather us. Whoa. High you. Oh. The Most High's gathering Israel. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, we be. Hey. The Lord is calling back Israel. Highest gathering Israel. How you doing, brothers and sisters? This is Elder Rick Harshaw of the Gathered of Christ Church. I would like to say shalom to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. And we now welcome you to our weekly Wednesday broadcast that usually starts around 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're a little late, but, you know, we're here. It's 7:20 now. We have about 2 hours of discussion. We have Elder Lawyer, and we have other elders and brothers on standby if they would like to chime in on this specific topic, okay? Now, everyone and their mama, like Jesse Lee Peterson eloquently states, is talking about R. Kelly. And we thought that we would use this particular talking point to redirect the focus where it should be. Okay, using this specific topic because it's poignant, it's timely, based on some of the things we've been discussing for weeks now concerning sexual deviancy, the LBGT movement, and the fact that there's no help for children who are molested and victimized growing up within our communities. Okay? So we're going to talk about that today, but before I do that, I have some goodies that were given to me by Elder Gabar when we went to speak and protest in New York a few weeks ago with the molestation and the African Bambaataa thing. And hey, that video of the protest will be uploaded real soon on our main page, A Gathering 144. Okay, so hey, get ready to see some intense teachings that came out during that protest. But I'm opening some goodies. He put these in, Gabar and the brethren from I Am Apparel in New York put these goodies in my truck and he said, Elder, you have to show brothers and sisters what's going on at I Am Apparel. And I made sure that I brought these with me. Look at this, with the fringes. Right? Hold that for me, Elder Lawyer. I am that I am. Okay? In the gold metallic, in the ancient, as well as it got it in the ancient Hebrew here. Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. Okay? Look at this here. Very, very, very fine print, what you would call printing here. No cheap printing. Gold and metallic. As you can see, it shines like our royalty, right? IamApparel.org, right? Oh, you can go to gatheringofchrist.org. These are my goodies. These are mine, right? I'll probably wear this one at the next broadcast with the fringes. For those who want to say fringes, we love fringes. All right. Now, more. I'm opening these for the first time, so I'm seeing these the same time you're seeing them, right? Let's see here. Opening goodies. Purim is coming up, so I'm getting an early Purim gift here. Oh, look at this here. Yes, yes. And he shall lift up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the scattered of Israel, and the captivity of Judah he shall gather together from the four winds of the earth. Showing Judah and Israel coming back together, no more a divided nation like we were after 721 BC. That the Most High is gathering the 12 tribes all together again. Not just dealing with prophecy from a quote-unquote Black American perspective. Mm-hmm. Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and our people here in America have actually thwarted, or what you would call, made an error in prophecy, making believe that all the prophecies only surround 5% of the earth in population. They made error in prophecy, making all prophecy linked back to slave ships. Error. The Most High is gathering us all back. It's not just a Black American doctrine, okay, of understanding. And I'm glad he made this shirt to say we are united with all 12 tribes, not just Black Americans, right? Boy, goodies. I have one more, and then I'm jumping right in. Don't worry about it. And do me a favor, hit the like button out there so that other people can come in immediately for me, please. Goodies. One more. And I think you had this one on the other day, Elder Lawyer. Mm-hmm. IamApparel.org, right? Look at this. Princes of the power, Yasha Allah, the 12 tribes of Israel. And of course, we have the one that Elder Lawyer has on, showing the Russian icons, Christ, Elijah, and Moses in the transfiguration from the Russian icons, the true image of Christ. And these images came out of Europe. Mm-hmm. So even the European powers understand that the true disciples, the true Israelites, the prophets of the Bible were all black. All right? I Am Apparel. Or go to gatheringofchrist.org to actually order these, okay? Now, gatheringofchrist.org and hit on the tab I Am Apparel. Fringes, everything, you can get it. We have, not only that, we have apparel for men as well as women. and children. Okay. Another thing I wanted to announce is that, of course, we have the Academy. The Academy was last Sunday. It was just this Sunday. It was one of the lessons. I'm gonna tell you, Abraham have never been broken down like it was this Sunday, showing paralleling Christ's life through Abraham. Why Abraham, being the father of the promise, is so important as far as understanding, and how Abraham was able to tie in pre-flood. Don't forget, he was taught by Melchizedek, who had the understanding of what happened pre-flood. Abraham was also threatened as a child to be killed at birth, like Christ, like Moses. And how Abraham's life, including him having a son, actually foreshadowed the coming of our Lord and Savior. So it was no hard thing for brothers during Christ's time to not have understanding of Christ if they followed and understood our father Abraham. Profound lesson last Sunday. And guess what? We're only 3 weeks in. So if you want to become a part of the Academy, yes, send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com to get in for this week's lesson. Who is Edom? And you know what? We're going to show you something about Edom this broadcast. Okay. Speaking about this R. Kelly thing. Okay. Right now, how many people we have in? We have 570. If you just come in, hit the like button so others can come in. I just wanted to make those announcements. Send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com if you would like to become a part of the Academy. We'll send you the 3 weeks you've missed. That way, you can catch right on up and follow us starting this Sunday with Who's Edom, and you'll be here for the next 2 months with us, right? You can also send an email, not an email, but you can go to historytimes.org, historytimes.org to enroll, or gatheringofchrist.org, okay? And of course, I'll be making other announcements, but let's jump right in. As you can see, Elder Lawyer, everyone out there is talking about this R. Kelly thing as if this is new news, as if it just happened. Why is the so-called media focusing on R. Kelly right now? Right? And do they really care about the abused women and the young ladies who are a part of his quote-unquote sex cult? Let me drop this right now, okay? America is a sex cult. And I'm not in defense of any sexual deviant. Let me make that clear. But there's a reason why the powers that be are pointing to, one moment. Let me turn this thing off. There's a reason why this society is pointing to R. Kelly at this time as the face of quote unquote sexual abuse, sexual deviancy. And guess who? Look who they're using. They're using artists that are signed by companies. We're going to talk about them in a moment too. They're using quote unquote victims who were victimized by this crazy predator that was always hanging out around children in schoolyards and all these things. Oh my goodness. We're surprised. We're so perplexed because these things seldom happen within our community. They seldom happen. R. Kelly is just an anomaly when it comes to sexual deviancy and all that. But brothers and sisters, if you've ever listened in on this R. Kelly thing, you need to listen to this evening. We're going to resolve everything for you. We're going to use this R. Kelly story to actually pull the curtain and shine a light after pulling the curtain on the puppet masters. Who created R. Kelly? One moment. One moment here. Who created R. Kelly? Let me cut all these things off because I don't want no disturbances during this broadcast here. One moment. Do not disturb. There it is. That's what it was.
Okay.
Okay, it works. Who created R. Kelly? Now, the title of our discussion this evening: Broken Children Surviving Babylon. Hey, surviving R. Kelly. Our children need to survive Babylon. It's nothing to take a camera and shine a light on someone's enemies. Okay? And those that have a vested interest in destroying someone for your purpose. But for whose purpose? Who's benefiting from this? And I'm sure there's a lot of tape that was left on the cutting floor, lawyer, that you would never see concerning these interviews. So someone had a vested interest in getting all things to paint this man a certain type of way. And guess what? He was a willing participant to some degree based on his deviancy. If it wasn't for his accounts, they would not be able to use the deviancy against him later. But we're going to pull back the layers, brothers and sisters, today. Because they have information on all the people they control and can implode them at any time for their own vested interests. That's what we're going into tonight. Because the same way you notice no one is hearing about Bill Cosby anymore. And no one is trying to do anything for women to avoid other women being exploited by those who might date drug them. There's women being date drugged right now. And no one is paying attention to that. There's children right now that's being raped and all that, and that are being sexually exploited in the music business right now. But it's not time for them to pull the plug on the new puppets yet. Are you following me here? Bro, man, wait till we expose what's coming out this evening, brothers and sisters. Okay? And instead of us playing different videos and all that, we're going to break it down with documented news articles this evening. Broken children is the topic of this discussion, surviving Babylon. Sexual deviants and child molesters have destroyed as well as demoralized our communities as long as I could remember. What about you? Now, these children grow up, okay, broken, mad at the world, filled with a spirit that could only hurt others, right? Especially if that child grows into an adult without getting the proper help that would have he or she overcome the abuse, right? But here's the disturbing truth about this. The evil and wicked within this world actually benefits from the broken and abused, and these that benefit are seldom exposed for this. Right? Who actually benefits from the likes of R. Kelly? Child stars. Who benefit from child stars and all that? These broken child stars and the likes of R. Kelly. Now, tonight, the Gathering of Christ Church, the same people who marched on Africa Bambaataa and got that thing shut down, okay? Everyone was talking. We were the ones that went down there and dealt with it. Okay? Let's now expose the devil behind the scenes. That's behind these Lifetime documentaries and all these things. Let's expose this evening the machine that made R. Kelly. And check it out. And I know some of you atheists and those who don't believe in the Bible, I understand, based on the buffoonery and evil that's going on with these churches. If I didn't read the Bible and thought that the Bible is teaching the garbage I'm actually witnessing, I probably wouldn't have believed in it either. But guess what? The Bible exposes this evil. Okay? What we see with children, listen to what I'm saying. Let's expose the devil behind the scenes that made R. Kelly. Because let me make it clear, folks. Make it clear. R. Kelly was an abused child without help first. You have to realize that. No one is talking about this. Everyone else is absolved. The parents who was around him and allowed him to get abused, they are absolved. The system and the community of abuse and drug dealing and all this killing and all that creates these people in our community, they're totally absolved. Those that surrounded him and understood he was broken and never gave him help are absolved. And now that person who have never received help, still in that child state of mind, only recourse is to what? Eventually do what? You know what happens. No one helped me when I was a child. Everyone exploited my talent. No one understands me. I've always lived like this. I just can't live no more like this. And you know what? The devil jumps in and takes everything. It's one thing, brothers and sisters. I'm going to let you jump in a second, Elder Lawyer. I know things are popping in your mind as I'm speaking. Right? Check this out. It'd be one thing if all of the money in publishing of R. Kelly actually went to those who've suffered going forward. See? Then that would be some type of justice, right? Okay, he exploited children. Now all the money he's made during his time of exploitation goes directly to the hoods and the neighborhoods that have suffered so because of R. Kelly. All of his money now goes towards the neighborhood and the people within the neighborhood. That means the record companies get nothing, the publishers get nothing, the business managers don't get anything. Okay? The accountants receive nothing. We're going to resolve this because the Bible points out the devil who continually does this and uses people to do so. The Bible points it out. The Bible points out the Molochian sacrifice, how these children never get help because they're a sacrifice for this system. They're used, abused, and thrown out, and everything is taken from them, not to help their own families. But there's some people, let me tell you, I looked up R. Kelly's net worth, Elder Lawyer, today. Right? Did I tell you what the net worth was already, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you all, don't Google it, because R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly, brothers and sisters, at one point in his career, for one album, sold 40 million albums. I bought one of the albums when I was coming up, and I think they was $15 to $20. 20 times 40 million is how much? Keep on counting, keep on counting. You don't even have to do the math. But guess how much R. Kelly is worth right now? Look at your screens, folks. I want you to take a gander at your screen. Look at this. R. Kelly is worth $1 million net. $1 million net. Now, mind you, brothers and sisters, this is what they're not telling you, and this is why they're going after him. R. Kelly has a catalog that's upward over $1 billion. Upon his death, that will multiply exponentially. Sony Music, his publishers, and all these others who are not black will take it all. And this is what these little so-called quote-unquote victims they're pulling out don't understand, because these people are broken too that they're interviewing, including the so-called music industry stars they're interviewing. Those people are broken also. Mm-hmm. They all quote-unquote need Jesus. Okay. So here it is. They're fronting, putting the broken in front of the broken, painting a narrative to steal the bag. Let's talk about it this evening. Okay. Who benefits? You know what? I know that the normal so-called media investigators and all that are not going to expose who's actually taken the bag and who have actually made these productions. Why? Because these so-called front people have a vested interest in not exposing their puppet masters. But we don't. We don't. We're here to expose the truth behind who's really orchestrating this campaign against God's people. Because don't tell me about you going after R. Kelly unless you're looking to lock up everyone, including the CEO of Sony Records who funded R. Kelly and his quote unquote, as you call it, sex cult. His business managers. All the people that last year all of a sudden stepped back and said that they're no longer representing him. What exactly did they know was coming down the pipeline? Mm-hmm. Oh, now you're going to absolve yourself when you were there inviting the little girls and giving the little girls and this little broken young man as a young artist access to all these children. And you knew what was going on in those hotels because you booked the hotels. R. Kelly didn't book those hotels you was bringing those young girls in. Okay. The road managers, the publicists, all these so-called white people who was enabling this young man when you should have been saying what? We're not here to exploit you. We know your story. We know you're broken. We know you were abused. We're going to get you some help first. We're going to keep you away from your temptation, and we're going to educate you. We're going to send you to school. Mm-hmm. You just made us over $200 million. We're going to send you to school, keep you away from what destroys you, and have you articulate to the point where you can actually control your own finances. That's a joke in itself, right? But they need him broken. Mm-hmm. Because that broken child, whatever that brokenness is that they can use to blackmail, become the shackles that puts us back in chains. Mm-hmm. They need you to sin against God. And they're sitting there taking all the takes. They're making sure they're building a dossier to destroy you. And there's enough people who would like what you have that they can use later to say, I need you, John Legend, to testify publicly against your brother. When John Legend won't get up and talk about all the raping that's going on in the Jewish Hasidic communities. He know what's going on there. I'll find all the least talented who have an axe to grind because they'll never achieve what he achieves, because as one is gifted, you automatically, believe it or not, create enemies. You have others who would like what you have. You think the powers that be don't understand that? So they went and got all the people who are not as talented as R. Kelly to speak against him. Made sure they were black. You can't see this? And don't tell me I don't want to hear no crap, because these same people existed while R. Kelly was at his prime and said nothing. Okay? We're going to call a spade a spade. They existed. All these same people that are talking now knew what was going on and said nothing. Okay, thank you. We want to talk about that. All these people, right? Now, this is another thing I'm going to pull out here, right? Let's go down the line. First off, let's talk about the machine that gave R. Kelly access to Aaliyah. Now, if there's things that I form an opinion on, I'll say allegedly, right? But let's talk to what we know is fact or public record. There's a marriage certificate of R. Kelly married to Aaliyah. At that age, she claimed to be 18 on the marriage certificate, but at this time she was like 15 or 16 years old. That's public record. Now, Aaliyah was signed to the music companies too. So how is it the music company complicit in this? And let's not even talk about Aaliyah's parents, right? What's going on in a system in which someone can come and say, you know what? Since the age of consent is okay at the age of 16 in this particular state, I'll allegedly break you off some dollars and pay you each month. You know how big I am. And give me your daughter. Give me your daughter. Let me have your daughter. I'll take care of her. Because, I mean, look at the communities we're living in at. Look how poor it is. I'll take care of her. Now let's just talk about our people real quick, right? How many of our people in the neighborhoods, how bad it is, will say no to that? So if we're going to talk about fixing things, we have to fix that first. A community that would give up their children because things are so bad. The money shouldn't go to the Jewish powers that control industry. They don't need the money. R. Kelly's publishing shouldn't go to that if you're looking to steal it, because that's really what it's about. It should go to fixing the scenario or the communities that lead to pedophilia, that has the molestation, that leads to a system that's so bad in which they'll give up their own children for money. Right? Let me put it up on here real quick. There it is. That's a broken brother and a broken sister, and no one, and she was a broken sister, may the Lord bless her soul, but no one is willing to deal with the system that creates what they're going after right now. Right? So we're going to talk about it right now. Right? Even Christ says you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. It's talking about the truth on everything, folks. The core point of the sin that have us in bonds. The systematic sin that this system exploits and benefits from. Let me put it out there for those who've just come in real quick. We had 1,000. Everyone hit the like because everyone need to hear what we're about to talk about right now. Broken children, and instead of this being titled Surviving R. Kelly, broken children survive in Babylon. Sexual deviants and child molesters have destroyed and demoralized our communities as long as we could remember. The children grow up mad at the world, filled with the spirit that can only hurt others. Especially if the child grows up into an adult without getting the proper help that would have he or she overcome the abuse. But here's the disturbing truth. The evil or wicked within this world benefits from the broken and abused, and these who benefit are seldom exposed for this evil. Who actually benefits from the likes of R. Kelly and child stars? Let's expose the devil behind the scenes, the machine that made R. Kelly. Because we're going to show you how this works real quick. And Elder Lloyd, I'm going to let you say a few things before I jump in and start showing some pictures real quick. And for those who would like to chime in and discuss this publicly, you can call in 515-605-9327. Survive in Babylon. Survive in Babylon, broken children. Or vice versa, right? Now, jumping right in, right? All right? We're going to jump right into this. What we'll do now, and let's go back to before R. Kelly, right, quote unquote, was a star. Mm-hmm. One moment. I need you to look at your screens. This is public record we're showing you here. Robert Sylvester Kelly was born January 8th, Chicago Lion Hospital in Hyde Park, Chicago. He's the third of 4 children. Kelly's single mother, Joanne, was a singer. She raised her children Baptist. I'm going to deal with that in a moment also. Because look how much money the Baptist church made off of R. Kelly in his prime. We're going to talk about that. So obviously he was raised a religious man. He was raised as a religious young man. Kelly's father was absent. Listen to this. Key. Kelly's father was absent throughout his son's life. Right? So where's the help for this victim, right? Listen to this. Kelly's family lived in the Ida B. Wells Homes Public Housing Project in Chicago. Kelly's high school music teacher, Lena McGlynn, described Kelly's childhood home. It was bare, 1 table, 2 chairs. There was no father there. I knew that, and they had very little. Kelly began singing in the church choir at the age of 8. Now listen to this now. Kelly grew up in a house full of women. You see this? Whom he said would act differently when his mother and grandparents were not home. At a young age, Kelly was often sexually abused by a woman who was at least 10 years older than himself. And he says, quote unquote, I was too afraid and too ashamed. So obviously that stimulated him sexually at an age of innocence. No one is talking about this. Kelly wrote in his 2012 autobiography, Solar Coaster, about why he never told anyone. At age 11, he was shot in the shoulder while riding his bike home. The bullet is reportedly still lodged in his shoulder. Right? And there's so much I can draw that we all can draw from this. Right? You know the story. No one's there. Women is raising him. Mom is trying to make ends meet, leaving him in the house with other women that's dealing with all types of nonsense. This guy's getting sexually abused and all that growing up and going to church to try to pray away the pain as a child. Totally confused, like this God I'm praising and singing to where's his protection for me? And guess what, brothers and sisters? That little boy still exists, and no one is even trying to reach that little boy. You know why? You know why? Because it's in someone's interest for that little boy to die like that. Huh? He was illiterate. The Most High just gave him a gift, and that was his only place of escape in this world, is to be able to sing and articulate his thoughts through music. Okay? And guess what? Someone fell upon that gift and said, you know what? We have found our golden goose. He organically just can write, can do whatever. He draw from the old style music and the articulation, and because he cannot read or write, he's instant in the studio. He think it and sing it without read or writing it. But because he can't read or write, he's still in that stage of what? Shame. We can utilize that because now he's sheltered. Okay. And not only that, to protect and hide that shame, we're only going to allow people around him that's at his same, that's around his same age academically. Because he's not that intelligent, we don't want him shamed, so we're going to keep young people around him. Let's keep him dumb. R. Kelly's favorite restaurant is McDonald's, folks. He mentioned that live. All the money he have, he could eat at all the lavish restaurants in the world at one point. His favorite restaurant is McDonald's. Right? Who's benefiting from this victim? Because yes, all the people he's victimized are victims too. But he was victimized first. And no one is talking about that. Now there's we're like I told you earlier, folks, we are about to pull the curtain behind and show you everyone they're not showing you who's actually benefiting from the downfall, not only of R. Kelly, but the black entertainment and athletic field in general. If there's a basketball star that they can utilize, he can do all the dirt he wants as long as he's doing what? He's developing a financial portfolio that can be stolen at the end of his life. They'll let you freak. They'll let you molest. They'll let you even kill, folks. As long as they can use you while propping up your portfolio to take it at the end of your life, and no one is actually talking about this. We're going to show you who's really benefiting. And I bet you, listen, I'm going to ask you who a certain picture is. I'm going to put them in front of you. And I bet you no one knows who these people are. Like, for instance, can someone tell me who this guy is? Somebody look at them and be like, oh, he's like a regular old white guy to me. Who is he? Give me his name. Can anyone tell me who this white guy is? You have no idea, do you? We're going to show you his name. No one is tying none of these people. Who is this white woman, this Jewish woman here? Do you know whether or not these people have anything to do with R. Kelly? Who benefits from the fall of the black and talented, you might ask? So let's ignore to some degree some of the faces and some of the quotes they're putting out there, propping a camera and a mic in front of certain people for their cause. You have to look above the documentary. Oh my hell, surviving R. Kelly. We need to survive America, folks. Who creates R. Kellys? You want to say anything? Let me let you all in.
Not at this point. You can continue. I'll come in a little bit later.
You sure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's start here. One moment here. This is someone who, was quote unquote victimized and now have her opportunity before the cameras to shine. No one knew who this woman was, but she was a quote unquote victim of R. Kelly's sex cult, right? Now listen to what this young lady stated. One moment. Let me get it here. Her name on the documentary is Lisa Van Allen. Lisa Van Allen. Now, for some reason, she was found and now is being paid as a front person for this destroying of R. Kelly. Now, just say hypothetically she's the victim he claims he is. Okay. Okay. Let's just say everything she's saying is correct. All right. Why are they parading our people around like this at this point when he's been doing this? He's been doing this at the time she claims she was victimized years ago. Okay. And no one said anything. All right. Check that out. Now, at one point, R. Kelly was protected from this testimony that she's making now by the same people who are now giving her a platform. That's the piece we're speaking about. But listen to this and check out the music in the background. It helps in this destruction against vulnerable, exploited black boys.
I felt special. I actually thought that I was his girlfriend. You know, I was living up there at that point. We were together all the time. You know, I had no reason to question that we weren't. Life in the studio was kind of boring for the most part. You really couldn't have much interaction other than, I couldn't have much interaction with anyone other than Robert. At that time, I didn't know what a runner was. But later on, I realized it was just, the people that work at the studio, and they pretty much like run errands. My mom would call the studio. The runners would actually let Robert know that I had a phone call, and then he would let them know to transfer the call to me. I do know that there were times where when she would get through and she'd be upset and saying she couldn't contact me and things like that. So it very well could have been times where she was calling and they weren't allowed to put me through. One time, one of his friends came to the studio and he's speaking to everyone, and just a normal reaction, you speak back. Rob would get upset and say, "You're not supposed to speak to them. You don't speak to them."
Now, mind you, they really care about this woman.
They speak to you,
they really
you don't
do.
say anything.
Hold up.
Pretty early on, he
Now the dark music comes in. The dark music comes in with a dark face of R. Kelly. You know, a close shot of a dark, look like they went and put some dark tint on R. Kelly when the dark music comes in. Here comes Jack the Ripper here.
pretty early on, he kind of introduced you to everything that he was into. It was instructed to call him daddy during sex, but it went from that to pretty much all the time he'd be daddy.
Okay, now hold up. Now here's the abuse. The abuse is, it went to the point of him asking us to call him daddy.
The first time Robert had me do sexual acts with him and another female, he actually told me it was going to be his first time and he wanted to do it with me. He would say things like, well, you know, if you love me, you won't try to change me. You know, if you love me, you'll accept me how I am. You know, if you love me, you'll do these things for me.
Now, mind you, this conversation goes on regularly within our communities on a regular basis. Same conversation, same acts. At this time, she was over 18. Right? But it's just that the fact remains, she said that when she was younger, she was introduced into the cult, and because of her being in this young mind, she couldn't escape what was going on. What people was ignoring was the alleged money that was being sent to the parents by this so-called camp of runners that's not spoke about in this documentary. Where the parents receiving money. I'm going to show you how broken and evil this whole system is. Because my question is, where's your family? Where was the conversation about being a sex cult then? Where were your family? Even if you didn't have the emotional fortitude or the strength to say anything, if you had a loving father and mother or family, they could have said something, right?
Those would be the little pep talks he would give me.
Pep talks.
Robert would film our sex acts sometimes. He would never ask me if it was okay to be filmed, but he never hit the camera or anything like that. Once we did the threesome, it became more frequent. Then he started introducing me to other young women.
Okay. So someone tell me, according to what this system allows in this earth today sexually, what people deal with every day, what was the criminal element of what we've just heard? What's that?
It's going to play another video.
Oh, it's a while. Now I had to pull this out because she's being paraded around, right? From one place to the other. And what she just mentioned was consensual activity after she was 18. Okay. Now, mind you, this guy's dead wrong. He's a whoremonger and all that. He's a broke young man that have never received help. But guess what? Sony Music and the others are making cash. They're protecting their golden goose. Their broken golden goose. You think they care about this woman? She's just being used too. And why am I bringing this out, folks? If they're able to do this and taint the pool of the population that will judge this man, then what will they do to any black man in America? I'm not here to defend his acts. I'm just saying, what are they allowing on the books that can affect all of us negatively? When they can make allegations and accusations when, quote unquote, according to the law, he was already tried for something, caught on camera and was deemed innocent according to America's law. And what I'm hearing now is way less than that videotape showing him dealing with a minor. But yet, he was found innocent in the courts. Right? He was found innocent. So now they can say anything they want, go to your enemies, public demonize you and smear against you, and take you down in the court of public opinion, and eventually call you guilty. Lock you up, throw away the key, and take everything you have. Mind you, elder lawyer, before you go now, the same time you were talking, I'm speaking of our people now. Oh, R. Kelly, he need to be dealt with and all this old crap here. Same time you're looking at this garbage surviving R. Kelly, what did they do? They slipped Kevin Spacey right up under your nose. Kevin Spacey is on trial. They claim for groping an adult when really the real charges were years of abuse on young boys, turning them into homosexuals. Now R. Kelly or black people have become the face that covers who? The real stories. The face of molestation isn't Kevin Spacey on the same day you're looking at what? Surviving R. Kelly. The same way. With the Me Too movement, at the same time Weinstein, a Jewish pervert, was raping everything walking, the same time that was on the news, they began to slip in, quote unquote, Bill Cosby. And then Bill Cosby became the face of abuse and molestation. Do you see a pattern here, folks? Is there a pattern? Do you see a pattern? Kevin Spacey is going right under the radar, and everyone is pointing to R. Kelly. Something 10, 20 years ago. Why? Because it's time to pay the quote unquote piper. It's time for the machine to take his publishing. They don't care about black people, black boys being molested. They don't care about anyone that's testifying and shaping public opinion. They could care less. It's time to take the money. They didn't care how many children Michael Jackson was around until it was time to take the money. They didn't care about the exploits of what was going on with Prince and all that stuff was going on with him until it was time to take the money. Why? Because our people are growing into an age in which we're looking to actually produce and have our children benefit from the products we produce. That's the time we're growing into now. That's why everyone is against Dame Dash. We're in a time in which we're saying no longer will these Jewish people send their great-grandchildren to school on our talent, on our finances. And they know we are becoming hip to the game. That's what's going on. So they say, well, since we just can't have them die broke with nothing like Louis Armstrong, like Sam Cooke, and like Otis Redding, and like all the people, we didn't have to. Back then, they didn't have to demonize us. Why? Because back then, the Jewish powers owned all of our rights in publishing. There was no need to demonize us back then. Okay? They would make sure that that product was seen before the world as what? Pure, innocent. You only seen the talent without the dark side because they owned everything, folks. But now we're dealing with what I coin a virtual regenification. They're doing what they're doing in the neighborhoods on the music side now. They push the drugs, they push the whoremongering, they push everything, the dirt and filth in our communities to do what? To lower the value within a community and come in and buy the community up pennies on the dollar. And then after they wipe it clean, they rebrand it something else, and now we can't afford it. The same houses are worth 20, 30 times the amount it was before being devalued. They're doing the same thing in the music industry now. They'll drag you through the mud, lower your value to you worth nothing, and then after they kill you off or you die, they're going to rebrand that and sell it all over the world as pure product repackaged. And then you're going to see little white kids and others singing, I Believe I Can Fly, and all that. And guess what? That publishing will not go to one of these so-called victims that's in Surviving R. Kelly right now. Now, we're going to show you the faces behind this, the faces. We're going to put some names to the controllers today. Okay? Who were the road managers? Who was managing him? Okay? The companies that were protecting him while he was so quote unquote raping children. Who were they? Who was the CEO during that time? Who are the A&R directors and the controllers? There's too many people that was around R. Kelly, this rich man with all this talent. All these people operating with him, protecting him, aren't complicit? What about his publicist who cleaned up everything that he was doing at the time in which he was doing it? What about them, the publicist? What about his quote-unquote accountants who understood where every dime went? Who are they? None of you have done none of that research, have you? I did. Because I know that what they're going to do is parade their broken puppets before everyone to sway public opinion, because they know our people don't pay attention. I don't care what Common say. I don't care what none of these guys say. They're paid by the controllers. You have to understand how this is going to affect all of us. How these young children never get help and they die broke. That's what affects us. Because there's another R. Kelly that's being raped right now in our communities who have the talent, probably more talent than him, and will be used by the same machine. Right? Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Getting
sir.
worked
Absolutely.
up in here.
Absolutely. Before we get into it in brief, I'll try to be as brief as possible.
Yeah.
And actually watching it, and I only decided to watch maybe about 2.5 episodes, because everywhere you went, people were talking about this documentary.
Yeah.
And as we were mentioning earlier, as we spoke briefly, one thing that I noticed about, from what I saw with the documentary, from everyone that was involved with R. Kelly personally, to those who are even the quote unquote the victims of R. Kelly, it seemed like everyone was trying to provide excuses and absolve themselves as to why they allowed this guy to continue in his sickness. Like, for example, there's quite a few testimonies, even going back before he was famous, of people coming forward and saying that he would hang around high schools and he would hang around the McDonald's. This is before he was famous.
Yeah.
That he was doing these things. And, you know, you were waiting for the person who came forward and said, well, R. Kelly, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing hanging with these young women? What are you doing with these young women? You were waiting for someone to come and correct him. And every person that came forward with a testimony was only stated, or the only thing they said was, well, you know, I just said to myself, that's strange. That's the only thing you said?
Okay, but let me make it clear. And I want to say something on that, Elder Lawyer. That's not strange. Every hood school, high school, have some guy that used to go to the school, 19, 20, 21, still hanging around, hitting on young girls. That's not strange.
Right.
That's not strange. We see this every day in the hood, don't we? And we're not excusing it, but I know people, that go hang out in front of the schools when it's being let out. Who's 18 and 19 and 20 years old in the hood. That's what they do in the hood. So that piece need to be fixed, right?
Right.
But to your point.
I think that's the overall point. The overall point is that something must be changed within the thinking of the community where these things have become normal. And going back to the young woman you were just speaking about, when her testimonies on the documentary, she was mentioning that she was actually involved in, as she mentioned, in the acts. And the young girl that they stated was in the video that came out that he was prosecuted for, or went to trial for, she said she was actually involved with him and this young girl.
Exactly. So she's an accomplice.
Exactly.
To the crime.
Exactly.
So now they're actually propping and paying accomplices to testify against R. Kelly.
Exactly. So it's like all of these people are now, and the excuse she gave why she was upset about this wasn't because, number one, she was being told or being asked to involve herself in activity with other women along with them. That wasn't the problem. It wasn't that the girl was underage, because she said her issue was that she thought the girl was 16, but really she was 14 at the time. So that was her problem.
So she agreed with dealing with a minor too.
Exactly. So I want to read just 2 scriptures on this point, because this is the reality for everyone that was involved and is still involved in this situation.
Yeah.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 16 verse 19 says, Thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. And that's what the majority of people did.
A bribe.
Exactly. Even the women were underage, right? And we understand that young women and young men are impressionable. Sometimes make very stupid decisions, right? But nonetheless, from a majority of these testimonies with the young women, they said, well, listen, I knew that it was wrong to deal with him because he was an older man.
Yeah.
I knew that it was wrong to do this type of act with him.
Yeah.
But I thought that this was my opportunity to become a star. I thought that this was my opportunity for a big break, so I went along with it.
And that's being ignored. No one is excusing anyone's acts. Mm-hmm. But are we working towards making sure these things never happen again? Mm-hmm. Is that the true objective?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Is that the true objective?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. So it says, thou shalt not wrest judgment, meaning you shall not allow judgment to sit like they did with R. Kelly. He should have been judged a long time ago for his activity.
And not just him.
Mm-hmm.
The women that were around him, raising him, raping him. Mm-hmm. Where's the stories on them at?
Mm-hmm.
But the companies don't have a vested interest in finding them. The people that made him and sensationalized him and all that and cultivated a predator, a molester, because why? They began to deal with this young man before he could even understand what those feelings were.
Mm-hmm.
No one is talking about any of this, folks. And guess what? This is running rampant in our community. That's why we were in front a few weeks ago in front of SOBs, prophesying and saying that we got to fix this. Because guess what? We don't even benefit when these people are tried and convicted. The system does. The system have them work for nothing, but none of that comes back to correct or to heal or indemnify the communities that the deviants affected, that the thieves affected, that the stealers and the drug dealers affected. None of it comes back to help us. It only grandises the corporate system. Something is wrong with that. Okay? It's not like they're looking to try to heal people going forward. They're just after one man for one purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. Thou shalt not respect person. So, if you're going to judge R. Kelly, not only should you judge him, you should judge all of the accomplices.
Exactly.
Reading on, it says here, neither take a gift, meaning take a bribe, hush money, for a gift doeth blind the eyes of the wise. And that's what happened. People took hush money, people took bribes, and because of it, their judgment was blind. They allowed the sickness to continue.
Go on.
And pervert the words of the righteous. One more scripture here, going to the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 8. Let me get it here. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 8 down to verse 10. And having food, raiment, it says, having food and raiment, let us therewith be content. Which is, this is something that we have to address as a community, because a lot of us, we all grew up poor, we grew up rough, okay, didn't have much, but at least we had, to some degree, we were provided food, shelter, and raiment. We had enough to survive. But we've been taught this idea that's been promoted through the same music industry that supported and used R. Kelly, that's using other young talent from our community to destroy themselves. We've been taught this idea of cash rules everything around me. And if I don't have the cash, if I don't have the dollar bill, then I'm worthless. So now people do things out of character in order to gain finances, in order to gain money. They'll sell themselves, sell their souls. Okay? So we have to become content with what the Most High blessed us with. Okay? Verse number 9, but they that be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish, hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. So R. Kelly had a problem before he was rich, or before he had money. But the money only increased the sickness.
Exactly.
Verse number 10 says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And I'm going to leave it there.
Exactly, because you have to realize this, and they understood this. The powers that be who gave them the money. The more money, the more mischief.
Mm-hmm.
If they cared about this young man, they would have solved some of these issues and helped him with these issues, brothers and sisters, before giving him the money. But that doesn't benefit the system who creates these environments they exploit. I can go on and on and on and on. I can go back to the Jacksons as kids and them paying the Jacksons' father, allowing these children to have access to all this evil and wickedness in the world. That's back then. But I can even go into our present time. How you see Young Money and Cash Money and all them. How there's stories of when Lil Wayne was growing up, what he had to do under Birdman. No one is talking about none of this. But you think the powers that be, you think they haven't developed a dossier of evil on these same artists and CEOs, or what you would call corporate producers that they are controlling? You think that's why they allow these guys to just go out and just be wild with cars, women, swimming pools, and cocaine and drugs and all? You think the same powers that went after R. Kelly will not go after them when they can no longer sell records and all that? But no one are addressing the core issues, the deviancy, the sexual deviancy, the homes broken without family, the communities that's just engineering broke people, spiritually broken people, whom the devil continually exploits. And we are about to show you who's benefiting from this, because the girls that are being interviewed and all that, these stories are going to come and go. They're not going to care less about any of these people who testified, including R. Kelly's ex-wife, who've got tens of millions from the divorce. You think she didn't see what was going on or wasn't a part of it, allegedly? So we're going to go into the scriptures, because the scriptures point these out. Because the true benefactors of our brokenness operates in plain sight. But we as a people are always distracted by the sparkly thing. Oh, the star. That's the star, R. Kelly. Oh, this girl or that girl. Just the little puppets they placed before us, without examining or figuring out who are the puppet masters. Who's so strong to the point where Russell Simmons, with all his money and finances and prestige, had to flee America. He had to leave America and go to a different island based on the dossier and allegations that were allegedly made against him, that the powers that be were about to pull out. He created Def Jam and had to turn it all the way over. We're going to show you, brothers and sisters. But before I do that, because we're about to pull back the curtain to show you the puppet masters. The puppet masters, we have them. Who benefits from the fall of R. Kelly, you might ask? You will see in a moment. You will see. But before that, let me take a few phone calls. And if you'd like to call in and talk about this, you can call in. We're live on Blog Talk, 515-605-9327. And this goes back to a broadcast we had a few weeks ago talking about Bambaataa and all that. You think the record companies didn't know what Bambaataa was doing? Mm-hmm. The father of so-called hip-hop and breakdance and that whole genre? You think they didn't know in those hotels? Guess what? Artists don't book the hotels, folks. Just like the girl mentioned earlier, you have runners, you have other people who are witnessing everything. And guess what? To some degree, sometimes the artists don't even find the people they're sleeping with. Okay? Mm-hmm. It be the companies and the runners and those that are around him be bringing the people to them. Mm-hmm. They have to show their worth to the quote unquote star, to show their usefulness, because they're not doing nothing else. So their usefulness is to find more people to stimulate their so-called star so that he can be useful. Okay, these entourages and all that, these people ain't doing nothing. So they must show themselves worthy. I grew up dealing in the music, growing up, and I was young, signed in the industry. I was young. And every place I went, there was grown folk and there was children too. Okay. I did shows at the Uptown when it was there, opening up for Shirley Murdoch, opening up for James Brown and all that, in my teens. Okay. Another thing, the Wyndham Plaza. I was there when New Kids in the Block and all that was there as background dancers and all that back then. And guess what, folks? Guess what? In these hotel rooms with New Kids on the Block, New Edition, whoever they might be, grown folk was letting young children all up in these rooms, folks, with these kids. Okay? And I'm talking about young black, young women. And these young women were voluntarily going in to deal with all these artists. That's the system that's developed. That's what's going on in this world. I've seen it with my own eyes. And guess what? In that industry, how sick it is, age ain't nothing but a number. You heard Aaliyah sing it. They don't look at age in that industry. Y'all better wake up. The Bible talks about Moloch sacrifice. They don't care about newborns, let alone a 13, 15, or 16-year-old who can decide they're not going to follow their parents and go do what they want to do. This system don't even care about newborns. They're killing babies, aborting babies in the mother's womb. What hypocrisy. Oh, you care about young children getting abused, huh? And sucking babies out of women. The same time. Give me a break. The same people now, the same people who are behind the industry and all that, supports abortion. Y'all better wake up, folks. Anything else, Elder Lloyd, before I go to a call real quick?
Go ahead.
Y'all hit the like button so we can get a few people up in here. I know a lot of you have come in late. We have a conversation going on this evening. Where is it here? Right here? Broken children survive in Babylon. Sexual deviants and child molesters have destroyed and demoralized our communities as long as we could remember. We're showing you that what happened to R. Kelly at a young age is what our communities produces. Okay? It's not all we produce. We produce so many good things. But the reality is, sexual deviancy and children being molested is a norm amongst our communities. There's no protection for our children. Our children grow up broken, and I'm speaking about R. Kelly. He was a victim first. As a kid, as a child. But you don't want to talk about that, do you? Because it points to the system we're born into. The children grows up broken and mad at the world, filled with a spirit that can only hurt others. Especially the child. The child grows into an adult without getting the proper help that would have he or she overcome the abuse. But here's the disturbing part of this. There's evil and wicked people within this world over the corporations who benefits from the broken and abused, and these are seldom exposed for their wickedness. You seldomly hear about them. So we're going to break it down. Who actually benefits from the likes of R. Kelly and child stars who are exploited? Let's expose the devil behind the scenes and the machine. Let's this evening, if it be the Most High's will, expose the machine who made R. Kelly. You can call in 515-605-9327. I got a few announcements to make before we expose the devils who are behind all of this. Because there's no question. Do R. Kelly need help? Yes. R. Kelly is 51 years old. He needed help 20 years ago. And no one helped him. They aided him. And that's the part that's being exposed. That's the part that's being swept under the rug right here. He needed help not 20 years ago, but 30 years ago. 40 years ago when he was left home and was abused. And I see how people coming out just buying this thing. Hook, line, and sinker. Oh, yeah, just because the media is showing you how to feel. When none of you, once that documentary goes off, not one of you will look into your own community and say, you know what? We're going to make sure that one more R. Kelly is not developed within our community. That's not made or engineered through sexual abuse. We're going to make sure that. And if you're not willing to do that, then you need to be quiet concerning anything else. If you're not willing to be part of the change. 618 area code. Come on in. You're live on Block Talk.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm just listening in, and because I went off on a few people about this, trying to explain to them the same thing. The wife is in on it, everybody. She said herself, see, now you guys can watch further. It gets deeper. There's actually two families, the McClartys and somebody else, actually prostituted their daughter to R. Kelly. And told everyone, but people not looking at that. They still trying to demonize R. Kelly. Not looking at our people wanting to sell their own children for money, prostituting their daughters.
Thank you, brother. I'm going to place you on hold. Go ahead. Go ahead, Liz, I'm listening.
All right. No, I was just about to say, if you guys go further into the series, it'll infuriate you. It gets really deep.
Thank you, brother. I'm going to place you on hold because this brother just mentioned a serious point here. Who's going to pull out and shine a light on the parents who voluntarily gave their children over? Right? There's no camera on them. No one is investigating these parents for allowing their daughters to be used in this manner. Think about that. And you know what that is according to the Bible? Sacrificing your children to Moloch. Giving your children to the devil. Let's read it real quick, Elder Lawyer, if you don't mind.
Before we read that, I got two scriptures, and then we'll
Yes.
go to the Moloch ones.
Come on.
This is Leviticus 29 and 19, or 19 and 29.
Come on.
Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Read it. Now, they should have been reading the Bible in the Baptist church. A lot of these people, so-called holy people, going to church and all that. Someone come and say, you know what, I like your daughter. I know you're struggling. I know you're going through something. I'll tell you what. I got my guy here. He's going to hook you up where once a month he'll bring you a bag. Let me have your daughter. And be like, yo, you make sure you take care of it. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna make sure she have the best of everything, clothes, shoes. And you know, she's not. That's what a lot of these women are saying is that they weren't trying to escape. They would have more there than anywhere, and then they can tell everyone, I go with R. Kelly, right? Well, the Bible speaks about this, about a parent willingly giving their daughter over for money, like the brother stated. Read it.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom.
What? Because if you do this, the whole community, the whole land fall to whoredom according to the Bible. See? Why does it say the land falls to whoredom? Because we understand it's the women who nurture and teach the children. So if you give up your daughter to be prostituted for money, she's going to believe or rationalize that behavior and teach it to her children. That, well, it's not that bad. I went through it and look how I turned out. I turned out fine. Or we would try to justify it by claiming worse things could have happened. It could have been a worse case. At least he sold me to someone who had something or who could take care of me. But guess what? Everyone out there can testify now because why? The money train has run out. He's about to pay the piper, and the powers that be are taking everything. The money train, the money that was going to the families and all that stuff is cut out now. It's over. As he got older and as he began to no longer be the main cash cow that he once was, eventually you can't pay like you used to. But the Bible tells us about this right here. Because he was going to parents. Not all parents agreed to this agreement, but some did. Read it again out of the Bible.
Yes, sir. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
And the land become full of wickedness. Why? Because the women will begin to teach the next generation of children, it's okay. Okay, it's okay to sell your body and do what you got to do to make it. And anyone that speaks against it are haters. If you speak about me getting my money, you are a hater. The Bible said this would happen to us. That's why the Bible told us in the law that we're not to take money and give over our children to anyone for money, for the bag. That's in the Bible. Chapter and verse again. Just say the chapter and verse.
That was Leviticus 19 and 29.
Okay, what's next, lawyer?
Next we have Deuteronomy 23 and 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
There should not be what?
No whore of the daughters of Israel.
No whore of the daughters of Israel. Read.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Nor of sodomites. What?
Of the sons of Israel.
Of the sons of Israel. Because you have to think about this, brothers and sisters. And this is what I'm looking at when I see those interviews of these broken sisters that are now testifying and saying things publicly against him. They're not even at the point in which they can articulate what happened to them and hide their own shame. You see how expressive she went into concerning her own acts in it? That shows you that something happened to her. And what she can't even understand, what I'm saying, is shaming me. She couldn't even cover her own shame in it. She went into explicit acts to demonize R. Kelly, not realizing she was presenting herself as a harlot. This is what this system has normalized, brothers and sisters. Someone could have said, you know what? Let's cut. I'm not going to allow you to say that about yourself. We still want you to stay clean through this. We want you to appear clean. And could have wrote up a script for her to say that would keep her dignity intact. But they didn't want that because they don't want our sisters to present themselves with dignity. That's another piece you don't realize. R. Kelly is not the only one that's being demonized here. It's the sisters also who was victimized. You are being rolled out as nothing and being presented as nothing before the whole world. Check that out. What else you have, Elder Lawyer?
On the Moloch sacrifice. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and 21.
Come on.
And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Most High Ahiah.
It says, thou shalt not what?
Thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane of the Most High thy power. I am the Most High Ahiah.
I am the Most High. That means sacrificing your children to Moloch, turning them over to the devil. Brothers and sisters, the synagogue of Satan, the people that run this world, worships Moloch. They worship Moloch. So anytime you bring your little child prodigy to the industry, understand who you're turning them over to. And I'm speaking to those like the younger Leahs who should have been protected but was exploited by the system. The parents bring their child and then trust an evil system to take care of them. Who turned her over to R. Kelly? Who turned her over to the industry? You know, in the industry, go straight to the parents and say, you know what? Here's some money on the side. I'm going to hook you up, give you a new car, a new house. And when you're in the ghetto and you get that first new car, man, it's like heaven. But you know what? I'm going to take all your children publishing and make sure that nothing goes to the children that will come from any union or marriage with that person. That money will not go to their grandchildren. It will do what? It will go to ours. Okay? It's our plantation. You are a slave. You can only deal with the benefits within this generation. You'll reap the benefits I give you while living, but not a dime is going to your children. That's a slave, folks. That's a slave. And I know some people are asking, well, why don't the rich people all come together who are black to make their own system against this? I know that's what you're thinking. We have intellects amongst us that are greater than a basketball and greater than, let me tell you, there's some intelligence amongst our people who are bouncing basketballs, who are in the music industry, who know exactly what we're saying here is true. But you know what's a shame? You have the system that created them with a dossier. No one walks through this earth mistake free. And you have some people who have taken inventory and have actually began to do what? Create a log on your life that they can use to destroy you afterward. That's why brothers can't come together. They can talk about it. You think Puffy and all these guys, Jay-Z, don't sit around and talk about what's going on and how they can really do things themselves? You think not? But they know, they like, man, it's that one night. It's that one night that, you know, it's that one night. They got me on that. But what they'll do, if they smart, they would just secretly do it and let someone else be the face of it, like the Zionist does it. You don't have to tie yourself to it. You can all come together and just get somebody squeaky clean with no dossier and do it that way, like your corporate board operates. But I digress. Next call real quick. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Our discussion today is broken children surviving Babylon. 404 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, you're live on Blog Talk. Talk to me.
Oh man, where to begin? This is a timely discussion for our people in our community, and I couldn't even watch the whole series with my wife because I was just so disgusted by all of the people, like you were saying, that's just sitting by, being an innocent bystander, if you will. But the way that I look at it, all of them were guilty because they all knew and they continued to bring young girls to him. But the only thing that people could say was, oh, that's strange that he's got all these young girls around. For me, like I said, I mean, when I was in the military, we always had a saying, if you see something, say something. But our people in our community today, like you guys were saying, oh, if you guys hating on me, if you worried about me getting my money, then you hating on me. It's all about getting the bag. Our people will do anything just to secure the dollar bill, even if that means going against what's right. And for us, we have to stand up against this evil. We don't have enough people in our community that's fighting against it. The ones that you think that would be fighting against these type of issues in our community, they turn a blind eye because they're getting a bag or they're getting some type of monetary gain or something to keep them, quiet. But, what can we do about this? Other than, teaching our kids and making sure that we are there for them and not giving them over into the hands of these wicked people. And, Elder, I'm not going to carry it on. I'm going to stop it right there, but keep bringing this out. We need to hear this. It sickens me that our people, this is something that has plagued our communities for generation after generation after generation. When is it going to stop?
I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And that's that's the whole point. And I'm glad that brother brought it out. Some people ask, well, we're Bible teachers. Why are we talking about this? Okay. Yes, because why? The Bible speaks to real-time understanding, real-time prophecy. And also, if we can actually talk on points that are actually going on in the earth today, we can actually show you where the Bible has relevance, because it warned us of this time and this society. It warns us of what would happen if we went away from the laws of the Most High. And all the things the Bible are against continually plagues us. The things we exhibit against the Bible turns into curses. Like a child who's left alone, only raised by his mother, getting abused. See? And through that become an abuser. Yet the child rarely gets help. The Bible speaks of that. And no one is pointing to the people who are benefiting from that broken child. The Bible points out the devil who's doing this, who continually does this. One more call. The phone number, 515-605-9327. What I'll do is we're going to just take a short break, make some announcements at the top of the hour, then pull back the curtain and show you the wizards who are controlling industry and who are after R. Kelly's publishing. .605 area code, because it's all about the mighty dollar. They don't care about those girls. They don't care if girls were killed during that whole thing. Talking about a sex cult. America is a sex cult. Anything outside of marriage is fornication. Okay? And the only people that are actually getting married now are freaks who are not married according to the Most High God. So marriage is no longer pure anymore. So they're talking about, yeah, he had this sex cult. What is America? What has this world become? Sodom and Gomorrah. Hey, and I'm not going to excuse anything this brother has done. But that's learned behavior, what he's doing. What parties were he included in which he say, yo, I need one of these? What sex parties and all that? You have to realize when you hit a certain echelon of fame, the doors are open and the red carpet is rolled out. And the red carpet, brothers and sisters, you have to understand what that represents. When the king would come home from destroying and killing, his wife would roll out the red carpet so he can walk on, representing all the blood that was shed in the name of victory. That's where the red carpet comes from. You understand? So you have to realize when you reach a certain echelon in this system, the red carpet is rolled out for you. And you are introduced to all types of sexual deviancies and all that, and spirits who, quote unquote, can help you hone your, quote unquote, craft. Craft. See? So they allowed him to have his little circles. They enabled those circles. They helped him with those circles. And they covered and gave him a good image the whole time while he was with these women. Who are they? The Bible explains who they are. You're waiting for the Antichrist, and the Antichrist is operating right now. They're over your churches. Okay? They're over your industry. They are over your record companies. Okay? They are your stage managers. They're everywhere around you. It's their machine. The Antichrist is not one man. It's a whole family of them. Next call, and then we're going to go to a break, and I want to just make an announcement, and then we're going to, like I said, we're going to pull the curtain and show you the wizard. The people that are looking to grab the money bag after this story is dead and buried. And then after they destroy R. Kelly and take his publishing and money, they're on to the next. They're on to the next guy that they'll destroy. Anyone that we respect with any level of talent or have care for will be destroyed. They want all black men to go out soiled. Can't you see this? Don't tell me you can't use your same publishing machine to paint him rosy like you did while he was actually in his prime. But why don't you? They want all of us to go out of this world taking a perp walk. One more. 605 area code. Shalom, you're live with the elders.
Shalom, elder.
Shalom, you're live. Talk to me.
Shalom. Shalom. Like, another thing that I noticed about it is this right here. You got so many people today who can't even have a normal conversation without being perverted. And those things affected me as a child because, like, I just sit on the porch and I see the brothers out talking or I hear the sisters out talking, and it was always perverted. You know, that type of knowledge will puff you up. So when you're growing up, you're thinking those type of things are normal. And you don't realize how it affects you until you get older because nobody's there to pick up on it. But I'll just leave it right there. You know, I like to hear what you got, your remarks about that. And I was just having another question about the Minnesota body. I was hoping somebody could call me so I can get affiliated with that.
Okay, one moment. You have an ink pen, Elder Lawyer? Let me write down the brother's number right here. Okay, hold on. Let me get your name, brother. Let me have your name.
Sidethought.
Oh, Tazadak.
Sidethought.
What'd he say?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is Tazadak?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, we'll call you because we'll be setting something up very soon there in Minnesota. So don't worry about it. I'll call you. All right?
All right, that's good.
All right, bless you, my brother.
Shalom.
Shalom. Okay. We're going to make some announcements real quick, and then we're going to show you who's actually benefiting from surviving R. Kelly. Again, I'm going to put this out there. There's people that benefit from the curses of the children of Israel, who we are. Okay? Just like if there's murders in our community, in the Bible, if you was to murder someone, their family are the only people who could benefit or be indemnified. Okay? For that particular pain and suffering. If you stole from that family, the money would go twofold to the person you stole from, or whatever the case is, whatever the law says. But we're living in a system in which all the crime is developed within our system. And then through that, none of the people that actually suffer the crimes are benefited. We go into the corporate structure and work for free, which is slavery. And that benefits the plantation owners. And I'm saying that to say, if you were to just examine this as an example with this R. Kelly thing, all the women that were abused should be the ones getting all the publishing of R. Kelly once this thing is done, right? Shouldn't they be the ones? But no, they're not going to get anything. They're in their 3 minutes of fame right now and getting a few $100 or $1,000. But after it's said and done, they're going to use that testimony to take everything that would have went to R. Kelly's family. See? So some Jewish kid that no one knows will be able to take care of his children and grandchildren off of I believe I can fly. And that's what none of you are seeing. That's what you've been ignoring. We're going to reveal the machine that made R. Kelly. Let's make some announcements real quick.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right.
sir. Of course, first and foremost, a moment here.
Yes.
All right, one moment, brothers and sisters. All right, first and foremost, we're excited to announce the formation of our new worldwide HQ location for the Gathering of Christ Church in Philadelphia, PA. This is exciting times for us, and the Most High has put it on our spirit to finish this work strong, and having a headquarters location will help us direct the flock more efficiently. We expect to open and operate by January 2019. In fact, in the week we will be actually celebrating the grand opening. If you would like to support the renovation work now underway at our new location, or if you would like to donate to help support the ministry and the elders' travels to different areas, please send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com. That's gatheringas1@aol.com, or visit us at www.gatheringofchrist.org. Again, that's www.gatheringofchrist.org, and click the donation button at the top. We thank you all in advance for helping support the work, and may the Most High bless all of your efforts. Also, for those who don't know, we are actually going into our 4th week this coming Sunday in the Hebrew and Online Bible Academy. Up until this point, we've discussed the creation of the universe. We've discussed tracing the serpent seed. And last week, we went into the seed of promise. As Elder mentioned earlier, we dealt with the blessings of Abraham and the promises of Abraham on another level, showing the connection between him and the coming of Christ, the purpose of Christ, and solidifying the covenants that were promised through Abraham. If you're interested in becoming a part of the academy, you can send an email to gatheringas1, that's the number 1 at AOL.com, or you can go to gatheringofchrist.org. Okay, go to gatheringofchrist.org, and there we have a tab for historytimes.org, where you can actually enroll directly from that site. Again, the name of that site is historytimes.org. When it comes to the GOCC 2019 Hebrew calendars, we have been working hard on the design and development of the GOCC 2019 Hebrew calendar, and look forward to sharing the new catalog with you all soon. We'll be taking pre-orders for the GOCC 2019 Hebrew calendars on our site starting December 21st, and we expect them to be ready for shipping to your homes by mid to the end of January. To pre-order your calendars, you can go to historytimes.org. Again, that's historytimes.org. Also, if you would like, you can check out the website for I Am Apparel, which is iamapparelstore.org, to purchase some of the merchandise that you saw earlier, shown by Elder Gocc Yar, as well as the shirt I have on now. This is all from iamapparelstore.org. Last but not least, if you haven't already, please go to our website and check out the GOCC network, in which we have a list of different businesses and services that we provide for brothers and sisters who, for those of you who are out there who are looking for anything but from legal services and things of that nature. I believe now there's a site on the or business on the network that deals with taxes and things of that nature, all the way down to things such as body products, healthcare products, so on and so forth. All of those things and more can be found on the GOCC network, so you can check that out also when you have the opportunity.
Thank you, Elder Lawyer. Thank you. Thank you. I'm back. Shalom, brothers and sisters. For those who've just come in, we are talking about, since that's the conversation right now, this thing surviving R. Kelly, but really you have to realize what this is really about, and we're going to reveal this today. And to show you how it affects all of us, prophetically and biblically. Mm-hmm. Our title, Broken Children, Surviving Babylon. Because what? This is about protecting the youth, right? Making sure that our children are protected. That's what the underage are not victimized. Okay, so this goes well beyond just the women who was under some so-called sex cult. Because I'm going to tell you some children that should be protected and helped. Even beyond this. What about R. Kelly's children? Should they lose all of the finances that came from their father's work because of what their father did? They're young. They need help, right? So shouldn't they be able to benefit from their father's legacy, regardless of what he did? Well, the system the system will tell you no. They're going to use this to demonize him. And while you're looking this way, looking at a documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, they're in the back taking the bag. They are now together conversating on splitting the spoils. Billions of dollars that could help the same black community that's suffering. Billions are about to be stolen by the corporate wigs. That's what's going on. That's what's happening right now. Folks, this is a campaign. It's a witch hunt. Literally. A wizard hunt. Literally. One more. I'm going to take one more call, then we're going to pull the curtain back and show you the wizards who are really behind everything. Mm-hmm. 913 area code. Shalom, you're live on Blog Talk and YouTube. Shalom. Going to the next call. 832 area code. Matter of fact, I'm going to 353 area code first. If you don't pick up immediately, I'm going to the next call. 253. 253 area code. You're live with the Gathered of Christ Church.
Hello.
Hello. Shalom. How are you? Talk. Let's get it. We got about
good.
50 minutes.
Yeah, I looked into some information, production
company that's producing the show is a known sodomite. That's the one that's producing it. And some of the shows that he produced are Real World, Bad Girls Club, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And also,
Okay, so
when
who?
I did watch the show, I
okay,
seen that.
okay, brother. If you're gonna
Go
come,
ahead.
bring some names. Who's the person that's behind producing the show? That's overall over producing the show.
The guy's named Jonathan Murray.
Jonathan Murray. Who
The
is he?
known
Is
sodomite.
he a known sodomite? Is he black or white?
And he's white. Right?
Okay, so you're saying there's a white homosexual that's behind
And,
behind the production of Surviving R. Kelly.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and the shows they produce are Keeping Up with the Kardashians and Bad Girls Club and some other just wicked shows. And also, if anyone wanted to look it up, they'll see that they've been accused of sexually assaulting some people on their shows. Some people had, like, put some charges against them because some of the people on their shows said they were sexually assaulted during filming. And I can't really go into it, what actually happened, because it's pretty bad. But if anyone looks it up, they can see it.
Okay.
And also, when I was watching the show, the parents that were throwing the rocks at the window, someone released photos of them with their daughter at an R. Kelly concert. So it's just like, because the production company is actually the people that started reality TV. So they're the pioneers of reality TV. So they, they just pretty much had those parents acting. Well, I won't say I don't know, but the point is people release photos of the parents, the mom particularly, with the daughter and R. Kelly at a concert. But on the show, they're saying that, he's been hiding them or they can't see their daughter. But then I'd seen that some people released the photos of the mom, the daughter, and R. Kelly at a concert.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. All right, brother. Thank you for pulling that out. So we know all in all that Hollywood has a vested interest, okay, in doing this, okay, with the corporate structure that that stands today, right? Now let's go back. In 1994 and 1995, when R. Kelly was at the height of his what you would call stardom. At the height of his stardom, around 94, 95, around that area. Okay. At this time, he was signed to Jive Records, and the CEO over Sony and all that was who? The guy before you name is Doug Morris. Now, of course, this guy here, you don't know who this guy is. Now, this guy had nothing to do with any parties or going out finding girls for R. Kelly, anything like that. But no, of course. But you don't know who this guy is. But check this out. Him being over Sony, he will make more from R. Kelly's catalog, right, than R. Kelly's children. So I'm just showing you who has an indirect vested interest in R. Kelly's fall. Now, mind you, if you are a CEO of the company, it's your position to make sure you do what? Protect your assets. To make sure, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what these so-called entertainers call themselves, they're nothing more than assets for companies. So that's why if they didn't have to protect their assets, there would be no such people as publicists. What exactly do publicists do, you might ask? Well, publicist, brothers and sisters, cleans up your public persona before the public. Right? That's what they do. A publicist, brothers and sisters, are paid by the companies to make sure their product are presented as a squeaky clean product before the population. Now, the same time, He's doing all these things with young girls, Aaliyah and all this. And I'm not saying allegedly with Aaliyah because there's public record that he married an underage young lady. The same time, okay, the same time this was happening, there was no documentary anywhere by the name of Surviving R. Kelly. Why? Why? He was caught red-handed. Why? During the same time that he was selling millions and millions of records, no documentary. You're not curious at all to why? I know why. Someone had a vested interest in keeping this away from the population. Okay? And on top of that, he ended up beating a trial. How many? Let me tell you, folks, the majority of us black people don't beat a trial innocent. How can you have your face on a video with an underage girl and then someone come out publicly and say who the girl is and all that and not be convicted? You think if that video came out 2 years ago, do you think he would have been deemed innocent in a trial now? See, but back then, there was a vested interest in keeping him out of jail. The corporations, the company. See? Because why? He haven't developed that portfolio of publishing that they could take later. He wasn't finished making music, folks. That's why he didn't go to jail. It had nothing to do with innocence or guilt. It had everything to do with his publishing, his worth. Y'all have to open up your eyes, brothers and sisters, and stop being deceived by these smoke and mirrors through media. Let me tell you, the industry do all types of evil and wicked things. You think they care less about some guy with a fetish for young girls? They could care less about that. But guess what? They made sure the publicists kept the negative at a minimum during the period in which he was building that portfolio for them. Corporations are in it for money, folks. They don't care about these young ladies. These people are from the same neighborhood as R. Kelly. They could care less. They're going to let some poor young girls destroy the money for their great-grandchildren. They're not gonna. They don't care about these young girls. Like, no. This guy got more music in him. And guess what? If there's more music in him, he can do whatever he wants until we finish with him. That's the world we live in, folks. Let me read this real quick. Right? Let me read this here. This is from the Chicago Tribune. R. Kelly being sued by former business manager. Singer R. Kelly's former business manager is suing the Chicago native, saying he is late with his first several monthly payments agreed upon in a settlement, according to the lawsuit filed Monday in Cook County Court. Now listen to this. I'm going to tell you, this is how you follow the breadcrumbs or the shekels. Oak Park-based Winkler and McDavid Ltd., which according to the lawsuit managed R. Kelly until the end of 2013. Now this is saying a lot. You mean to tell me this law firm was down with Kelly all the way up to the year 2013 and didn't do anything or didn't say anything or look into being lawyers of a sex cult that was going on in the 90s? Right? Look at this. which according to the lawsuit managed R. Kelly until the end of 2013, says the artist is required to make payments on the first of every month through January 2016 based on his settlement agreed for parted ways. The lawsuit alleges Kelly, whose full name Robert Kelly, failed to make his first monthly payment. Check out what his monthly payment to the law firm is $40,000 a month. $40,000 a month, folks. Right? I need y'all to check this out. Now, I looked up the law firm of Winkler, McDavid, and Associate. That's the name of the company, right? Mm-hmm. I looked this up, brothers and sisters. I looked up Winkler, David, and Associate because, I like to follow the shekels. And I found who? Eric N. Macy. Eric N. Macy. Right? He's the main guy that was operating with R. Kelly, in which now R. Kelly have to pay their law firm on record $40,000 a month. I don't think any of these so-called victims of the sex cult is getting $40,000 a month, but this guy is. He so happened to be Jewish, and maybe that's a coincidence. I don't know. Right? Now, how does this come into play based on what's going on right now? Well, brothers and sisters, when it's time for them to divide the money, these guys have a contract to say this amount of money will go to our law firm based on our prior obligations with Robert. That money will continually be paid out of a trust or through some type of publishing company, but black people will not see that money. Surviving R. Kelly? I'm sure this law firm will. Huh? Didn't I tell you he's going to pull it out? No one knows who that guy is. There's more. Let me read this. More. We have what they call the receipts, right? They call it receipts now, right? R. Kelly's lawyer, assistant publicist. Now, the publicist, brothers and sisters, is used to give you a clean public persona before the public. You hire a publicist to clean up your dirt publicly. Now, this publicist allegedly had to know something to be able to have to come in to give what? A clean persona of R. Kelly during the same time of whatever was going on. I would assume, with a record of him going to trial and all these things for a young lady, that a publicist would be hired to clean his image. Right? For a clean image. R. Kelly's lawyer, assistant publicist, quit following further sexual misconduct allegations. Now, mind you, these sexual allegations, brothers and sisters, these allegations here weren't as heinous as that tape that was released on the internet during the prime of R. Kelly's career. Now listen to this. The inner circle exits follow a number of troubling claims against the R&B singer. R. Kelly's attorney, assistant, and publicists have all cut ties with the singer. This is as of 2015, y'all. Once his career was literally over. Following several recent sexual misconduct allegations that have been raised against him. On Friday, following a report from Pitchfork, Pitchfork. It would be a pitchfork. Satan's pitchfork. Kelly's representation, Trevian Cootie, confirmed with Billboard that as of April 16th, she no longer works with him. Meanwhile, according to BBC 3, Kelly's entertainment attorney, Linda Minch, folks. Linda Minch and his assistants, Diana Copeland, have also left his team. Minch also, entertainment attorney Linda Minch and his assistant Diana Copeland have also left his team. Minch confirmed for resignation to Billboard. Now, come to find out, brothers and sisters, and it may be a coincidence, these are all Jewish people severing ties and separating themselves from R. Kelly before the other shoe fell years before surviving R. Kelly. Check that out. Here's pictures. There they go. There they go. You don't even know these people, do you? But R. Kelly do. You have no idea who these people are. You have no idea. And guess what? They're finished with him. They're now working on the next abused young black boy without a father that's being separated from his family, that's being raised by women singing in the Christian church, who's illiterate and can't read, so that they can use that person also. It's no different than when we were slaves on the plantation and they kept us from being able to read or write so that we can be a useful slave while living, not asking or expecting anything beyond our food, shelter, and daily raiment. You think slavery ended? Are you kidding me? All those gifts, but yet he doesn't have the intellect and the understanding and education on how to value his gifts? Man, that's the goose that have laid the golden shekel. Are you kidding me? And the same time this is going on, guess what? This is not allegedly. This is now at a concert, Drake kissing and groping on an underage young lady. The same time that the so-called documentary is going on, with the media saying nothing. And it so happened that Drake's mother is Jewish, which according to their examples or how one would determine their ethnicity, that would make him Jewish. I don't know if that's a coincidence or what. But this is nothing that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. This is something that's going on right now. Kevin Spacey. Right now it's happening. That's the girl that was on the series, the Netflix series, Stranger Things, which she said publicly that she has a personal relationship and call and have a conversation and dates and go out with dates with Drake. This didn't happen 20 years ago. This didn't happen 15 years ago. This is happening now. But the publicists are not publicizing this right now. Their eyes are not on this. Why? Because if they're going to burn Drake, it's not time yet.
He's still a cash cow.
He's still a cash cow. Thank you, elder lawyer. We're blowing this thing right out the water today. It's time we as a people begin to look beyond the surface. First, the first thing to do is to fix what's wrong with us as a people.
That's right.
And help our children before they get to the age of adult, broken, only to be exploited by the devil and his children. So eventually, hey, you know what's next for R. Kelly, right? Prison. And all the people that love him, all the people that care for him, could care less because he's been demonized. And that same little boy who was raped as a young child will die demonized with nothing for him or his family. Hey, Revelations 3 and 9 real quick. Revelations 2 and 9. Let's drop it.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 9.
Come on.
I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Christ told us in Revelation. He know our works. He know how hard we've worked to build this empire, this Roman Empire. He know our tribulation. He know we're suffering. Broken families, you name it. Christ see us, what we're going through. He's speaking to his people here. He's saying, regardless of all of this, just know that the Most High haven't forgotten his people, folks. He didn't forget us. He know our works, our tribulation, our poverty. He see how we're suffering so. A change is coming, folks. Because it's at one time we could see these stories now and buy everything they were selling on face value. But I think that there's so many brothers and sisters out here who seeing this thing for what it is right now. And I applaud you. They're not absolving R. Kelly, but they know that there's a conspiracy behind destroying him right now. And that all the people who are accomplices to him in his heyday have been let off the hook. Like, well, hold up. You mean to tell me all this was going on and no one said anything? If you're going to prosecute him or go against him, then guess what? You must tear the whole thing down. You must go after the woman that raped him at an early age. You must go after what happened in his family that allowed this to happen. All the people that allowed that young boy to grow up without being educated, without being able to read. You have to go after the companies who signed him knowing that he didn't know anything to use him. You have to go after his entourage. You have to go after his runners. You have to go after everybody. The mammies who was bringing the women. You have to go after the school system that knew R. Kelly was hanging around but allowed him to hang around. You have to go after the principals that allowed him to speak at the schools. You have to go after the concert directors, those that own the stadiums. You have to go after the record companies.
Speaking on that, when you all throughout the so-called documentary, they mentioned, oh man, his performances, they were just so sexually explicit.
Yeah.
The question is, who were buying tickets to these concerts, taking their daughters to these concerts? Who were allowing these concerts to be held that were so sexually explicit and needed to be, as they were putting it to some degree, banned, and this should have been assigned to us, so on and so forth.
Exactly.
Who was behind these things?
And on top of that, you would go, if R. Kelly was to give a concert right now, it would be filled and packed with black women. Right? And on top of that, if he wanted to walk away and set up another building for women to willingly come in there and deal with him, guess what? The line would be around the corner. No one wants to address all that. That this thing doesn't go away with destroying R. Kelly. Okay? They need anyone with anything as a black, powerful black man to be demonized within this system as if we can't do anything right. And that's the example they want for us. While the Kevin Spaceys go on and they'll just fade him out. Like the Weinsteins go on and they'll just fade him out. But they don't want us as black men to die with any dignity. Okay? You're going to hide all he was doing while he was doing it and clean them up so that he can actually do what? Build a portfolio of $1 billion, $1 billion portfolio catalog. He built it up for you, and now you're going to tear him down, where now his children are not going to know him for the great singer and some of the songs that inspired people to do right. They're not going to hear anything about that. They're going to know their father as R. Kelly, the rapist. And they're going to use our people to do it, folks. And none of these people are going to get anything. Anything. And I'm not saying he should be absolved. I'm saying if you was going to deal with him, you should have dealt with him at the prime of his life when there was proof he was doing it.
Right.
Now they're going to bring it up like this is a new story or something. And not only that, who makes them the righteous judge of something, all the wickedness they do? How can they now, show and bring forth the example of righteous judgment against anything? Mm-hmm. Hypocrisy at its finest, folks. Let's go.
Revelation 2:9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
We are rich because why? It doesn't matter how they demonize us, even how broken we are. Our spirit, the Spirit of God, still shines through us. Regardless of what that brother went through, the Most High gifted him. Okay? And guess what? That can never be taken away. He was exploited as a young child. He was raped as a young child. And he found refuge. And guess what? That refuge was in his music. And he was able to do what? Express his gift. All of his music wasn't about sex and all that. A lot of it was because what? That's what the companies wanted to push. They'll hold you to a certain genre and keep you there. Mm-hmm. While they'll let your Ed Sheerans and all of that, their singers become pop squeaky clean. Okay? That's how the business works. Even if he wanted to be what, even if he wanted to be like some of the white artists are portrayed as a pop artist, they would not have allowed R. Kelly to be that. Mm-hmm. Okay? The company or the machine dictates the genre or the audience they're targeted. Yeah, man, I need you to keep that sex thing going on. I like that doot, toot, toot, beep, beep. I like you to do that. Yeah, I need you to, you remind me of your Jeep. Yeah, give us that Negro music.
Right. Right.
See? When I heard I Believe I Can Fly, I'm like, man, this is where it's at. When I heard him write the song for Celine Dion, I'm Your Angel, I'm like, you know what? This is big music here. He's way bigger than this trash they're pushing in our neighborhoods. And they knew it too. But they knew one day they would burn him and use his music as evidence against him. Mm-hmm. You need to check this devil out, folks. He's very, very patient. Come on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
Christ told us, I know the blasphemy, the bold-faced lie. Now, I'm not saying this. Christ said in Revelation, I know the blasphemy which say they are Jews, of them which claim to be Jews. Now, I'm not saying anything. I leave it upon you to understand who Christ is talking about here. Because last I looked, our people don't know who we are. We're not calling ourselves Jews. Right? So Christ is saying here, I know the blasphemy, the lie, that's what blasphemy is, of them who are claiming to be Jews. Read.
And are not.
And are not.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
There are what?
The synagogue of Satan.
And guess what? If you were to pull up some of the names and pictures that I've just shown you, you'll notice that these people who were in R. Kelly's life have one thing in common. They all meet at the synagogue. And Christ is identifying those which claim they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So they'll have these meetings at the synagogue and say, you know what? I found one. I found a gifted youth in the ghettos whom we can control, use, then tear apart, and then take the booty or the finances for ourselves. Okay? Booty comes from the word, believe it or not, pirate's treasure. Spoils. So they'll get together and say, you know what? You can become the accountant that I'm introducing him to. You can be the lawyer I'm introducing him to. You can be the publicist that I introduced him to. And he don't know that we all drink and have dinner together and all of our children know each other. I'll just let him know that, listen, I know you're not that smart, but I got some people who's going to take real good care of you. So they have their little meetings, and then they'll come out and say, listen, don't worry about it. We're going to hook everything up for you. We're going to roll out the red carpet for you. Don't worry about it. I got your accountant in place. I got your publicist in place. I have your stage manager in place. I got runners in place. And guess what? They're not paying for nothing. You're paying for everything. And don't worry about that. We can make it go away. I know some people. That's how it works. Christ is calling them out. Them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, the conspirators. Read.
Revelation 3:9.
Come on. No. I need you to go back to 2 and 9 because there's something key that shows prophetic at the end of this. What happens to us at the end of this with them being called the synagogue of Satan? Read.
Verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Christ told us that we are not to fear any of these things that we should suffer. Read.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
At the end of it, the devil, the synagogue of Satan, will imprison you. See? They will throw you into prison. And guess what? That's what they're about to do to R. Kelly right now. And I hear our people, man, R. Kelly need help. You should have been going after the people who propped him up and who didn't give him help when he had the money to receive it. Okay? All of these people knew the brother needed help. The same way Birdman need help, Wayne need help, all of our people, that you can run down the line. You can just run down the line. We all need help, but guess what? They're not going to help us. They're going to exploit us. Why do you think they're putting so much money behind this trash music you're hearing today? Mm-hmm. They don't care about us.
Mm-hmm. And the music is promoting the same exact activity that they're accusing R. Kelly of being guilty of.
You made that point early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're financing an even worse environment than R. Kelly was in.
Mm-hmm.
But what we see today, what do you think that goes on in these parties, these video parties and all that with all these artists and all that? Wake up, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the brother do need help. He need Christ. So do all of the children of Israel. We all need help. But we also have to point to the evil, the hypocrisy of those who are actually using our gifts for themselves and then throwing us out like yesterday's trash. What you're seeing right now is a public witch hunt and a burning of a legacy. That's what you're seeing. more phone calls here. We only got a few more moments before we end it. One more. 605. Did I have this one earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, I see Elder Gocc there. Elder Gocc, talk to me.
Hey, Shalom, elders. How you doing?
I'm doing
Shalom,
well. How are you?
shalom.
Shalom.
Man, I'm listening, man. It's funny this broadcast going on tonight, bro, because I was just talking earlier about the Kevin Hart incident right now, that how the gay community is going after him for not apologizing, or wanting him to be like pro LGBT, and he's blatantly refused. So I think they're gonna go after him next. You with me? With what they're doing. I mean, R. Kelly, this witch hunt that they're on right now for R. Kelly is like, like you said, they're looking to burn him. You with me? And destroy another brother. But if you're gonna go after him for sex crimes, you need to go after every single other entertainer out there. You understand?
Exactly.
Like you said, you need to go after Drake. You understand? Drake isn't just with a young girl. Drake is a sodomite. All right, straight up.
Allegedly.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it out there, allegedly, but go on.
We have. Yeah, so we have, all. I mean, this is the devil's playground, and the chicken come home to roost right now. You with me? You understand? We saw them go after Bill Cosby earlier in the year. Now is another brother. You with me? They're coming after. And the list going go on. I mean, these guys, sign their name in blood. You with me?
Yes.
So it's exposing this wicked system. And I was like, whilst I sat here listening to what you were saying, I remember when I was in California, and we looked at like the Broadway walk. Where they have all the movie stars and all that.
Yeah, the Hollywood Boulevard, where they have the stars at. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hollywood Boulevard, and when you look on the TV and you see how the glamour and the glitter, but when you actually get there, it's quite dirty. It's not really pleasant. It's not comely. You with me?
Yeah.
And that's what. When I see this, it reminds me of that, because people see the glamour, the fame and all that, but really behind it, it's dirty business. It's not nice.
Yeah.
And it's literally a block of fame. Everywhere else around it, it's dirt.
Yeah.
So looking at it and people waking up, people seeing it. A lot of people talking about how they're demonizing R. Kelly, and you have people like what's it called? What's that?
You talking about the series?
Bullock and all them other actors. Sorry?
No, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, you have all them actors out of Hollywood, known pedophiles, known known raping people, known for it.
Yeah.
And nothing coming out of that. Nothing is being said about it.
Yeah.
So I mean.
And God, right on what you were saying. No, go ahead. Finish your point. Then I'm coming. Go ahead.
Now, I want to know, like, what's curious to me is why R. Kelly and why now?
That's the question. Why R. Kelly and why now? When there's a long list of accusations against him for decades. Why R. Kelly and why now? Great question. Great question. And I can answer why now. Why now is because right now they have squeezed his worth to less than, right now, he went from $150 million worth in 5 years to being worth net, Gotcha, $1 million. Yeah, exactly. Now you have to realize because he didn't know how to read or write, when he went through the first trial, scared for his career, he signed over a certain percentage of his publishing to some certain people who had the law knowledge to know what his catalog would be worth later. So he's been paying behind closed doors. He have been paying for protection at the expense of his future publishings. So now you have to exactly. So he don't have the education, being that he don't even know how to read, to know that he could have protected himself by going under bankruptcy, moving his finances and publishing house separate from these same vultures who would burn him later. He didn't have that mindset like Michael Jackson had. You understand? Like a Prince had. So he was just signing off. He was afraid what might happen to him in the midst of the allegations and signed off his publishing. Now, that's why he had to actually, believe it or not, he had to actually tour for the last 10 years. He shouldn't have to tour anymore just to pay his rent because his publishing isn't paying him anymore. They've parted his publishing. So now what they're trying to do now, exactly. So now what they're going to do, right? Now they're going to burn him all together so that now his net worth will be less to nothing, where they can buy it out for pennies on a dollar, Gocc. Make it, because you have to realize when negative comes out on an artist, what happens? They stop rotating the album, the music regularly. That slows up the publishing and all that. They start pulling it from the public so that now there's no residuals coming in so that they can buy things penny on a dollar now for what's ever left. And then that's regenification. And once they burn him all together, there's nothing left for his families. And then once he die now, they will then change his image. Exactly. They'll change his image. All the bad stuff will go away, just like they did with Woody Allen, just like they did with just like Michael Jackson. They repackaged Michael Jackson after his death, and you hear nothing about molestation, right?
You're hearing his music.
Exactly. It's on commercials and all that, and now the residuals are worth even more now. Because they know that people are fickle. People are fickle. Once the story goes away and if something happens to R. Kelly, now those sentiments of hatred turns into what? Sorrow, empathy, sympathy. And now you're having all the people come out saying the good stuff about him once he's dead. Okay. But it's too late now because all the publishing now goes... Nothing goes to the children. It will all go to these law firms and corporations that made R. Kelly. That's why now. That's why now. It has nothing to do with sex slaves, has nothing to do with women, has nothing to do with molestation. It has everything to do with the multi-billion-dollar catalog, the masters.
So it's like if now, let's say hypothetically, just as a hypothetical, behind the scenes, people probably saw what was happening to him financially and tried to help him and say, listen, man, you see what they did to you, so on and so forth. Let me help you try to get some of that back. Now, because of all what's out there in the open, no one wants to be attached to him to even be in that circle to help him or try to say, let's help you get your money back. Let's help you get your publishing back. No one wants to be attached to him.
This brother don't know which way is up. And there's no one he can trust. And he know where this is going. But there's all the people that he trusted since coming up young in the music business have abandoned him. All the same people have abandoned him.
Let me read before you go back.
You know,
Gocc, hold that point. Let Lawyer bring this out and you can come right in.
I just wanted to bring one point because we've been bringing out all night the environment that exists in Hollywood amongst the elite, so on and so forth. And again, not to absolve or to abdicate or try to make R. Kelly like he's higher than anyone else when it comes to his activity, because all in all, it's still wrong. But just to give you some insight on what takes place behind closed doors. There was a TMZ article. This is actually an article that came out in 2011. I think this is a rock star from a group called Scorpions. I think they're prominent in Germany. It says here, rock star claims he's been to snuff parties where people were murdered for entertainment.
So this rock star came right off and say, listen, I've been to parties where there wasn't just sex going on.
Mm-hmm.
In these parties, people were killed for entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go on.
And it's not conspiracy theory. You can actually go on TMZ and see the video of this guy saying this.
Yeah, and this is not alleged.
Mm-hmm.
This is a rock star in public saying, listen, I've witnessed people being killed for entertainment in our parties.
Mm-hmm. It says here, in a shocking and hopefully not serious video admission, so he admitted this on video, to online entertainment news outlet TMZ, former Scorpions bass player Ralph Reicherman says he attended snuff parties in the past. For those not in the know, snuff parties are attended by folks who, according to Reicherman, pay upwards of $100,000 to witness someone get murdered.
This is the sickness called the industry, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Satan's industry. But yet, they care about this quote-unquote sex cult and R. Kelly hanging around schools. Are you kidding me? You was mentioning something before Elder Lawyer came in, Gocc.
Yeah, I was saying, we went to a Lauryn Hill concert a few weeks ago in Manchester.
Okay.
We
90
after the show.
Okay.
But when she was performing her music, all the tracks were all different backing tracks from the original.
Yeah.
And then we started to find that there's something going on with her and her publishing, that she don't own it no more. So she can't perform the original song. Basically, she don't own her music.
Her own
So
songs.
this is just a thing going on with R. Kelly.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, so it seems
60 seconds.
amongst the artists where they get tricked into signing over the publishing, which is really the future of the music.
Exactly.
So all her tracks that she was performing, she was doing it to a different backing track. So nobody really recognized the music,
Look at that. I'm gonna tell you, it's about those masters and publishing. That's what it's about. And now Lauryn Hill cannot even perform her own songs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
R. Kelly now, everything is going to be taken from him and repackaged. Okay. Nothing for his children. Okay. Now if that's
10 seconds.
Now if that's not a slave, what is? Now, and I'm going to say this. The only sin that can't be forgiven is the sin of blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Okay? At the end of this, that brother and anyone else who's going through sin can repent and confess their faults and be baptized and be accepted afterwards. Okay? Because Christ still knows that little boy that wasn't protected and abused. And our people claim to be the most spiritual people on earth and all this, that, and the other. But we turn on each other at a drop of a dime, and there's no spirit of forgiveness in our hearts. It should be a thing where we can understand this brother was victimized as a child, and that person still exists, and somewhere in us or in him can be helped. Somewhere in him in which the Lord can come through, or someone can be there for this brother to help him through this. Okay? And Christ accepts him if he repent and come back. And who knows, maybe this is the step in which the Most High will take everything from him and make him bare, so that at least his soul is saved through all this. Sometimes the Most High works like that. He works like that. Well, he'll take everything from you to build you up as his child, outside of all of this facade. So hopefully the brother save his life and understand how much he means to the Most High, and the righteous and the good that he contributed to the world, and outside of the money and the finances and all that. Forget all that and prepare his soul for the Most High. You understand? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. This brother getting the spiritual help that's needed. And then on the other side of that, becoming a warrior in the Most High's army against the synagogue of Satan. The same people who created R. Kelly. That little Robert is somewhere there, abandoned by the same system that made him. Of course he did wrong. Of course he's a victim. I mean, of course he's a victimizer. But that's what happens. The broke breaks people.
And that olive branch, just to add to that, that olive branch is extended also to the sisters who have been victimized.
Exactly.
And those who have been hurt.
And the sisters that have been hurt through all this. The same for them. That they can be born again. They can be baptized and not look back on the wrong that's been done with them, and be able to forgive one another. Okay? As a people. Satan wanted to just point fingers at each other while they destroy us all. Where's the spirit of forgiveness? All of these women at any time can now, especially with the public spotlight that's on this thing, can walk away from that thing right now, every last one of them, and begin a healing. And so can he. The question is, if the brother do repent, will you forgive him? And what would be, and I'm going to put this out there for all of you that's looking, what would be the public example that he can show penitence, to show that he's sorry for what he's done? I'm just putting it out there. Because I'm sure when everything is swept from up under him, and you're standing there with you and just the Most High looking back on your life, at that time, you're open for healing and constructive criticism. But it was hard for him to go through that when he's being sheltered by the machine. It was hard for him to deal with any level of contrition and all those things when now the machine is sheltering him and throwing money at a sickness. But it might not be too hard for him going forward. There's going to be a place of repentance and reflection on his life now. But if he does, if he come to that realization, will we forgive him? That's the question. Someone says, well, what about Dr. York? Dr. York is the devil the Bible speaks of. All right? Let's go into it now. A few more calls here. We're winding down only a few moments before the broadcast ends. Stick with us, guys. I'm going to keep you in, okay? We just go down the line, give everyone about 1 minute, and then we'll wish you all Godspeed. And again, we have the Academy. Get into the Hebrew and Bible Academy. We drop in understanding like never before. And these classes, brothers and sisters, they're straight from the Spirit. You don't want to miss these classes, okay? These academies. I'm telling you, we're going into Who's Edom this week. breaking down the synagogue of Satan and their origin and how their bloodline linked to the Canaanites. We'll be breaking that down. The Canaanites are linked to the powers that be right now. The people that are controlling R. Kelly, bloodline is linked to Canaanites. And we're going to show that this Sunday. Gathering as one at AOL.com. Let's go down the line here. 913 area code. We're giving each person 1 minute. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Talk to us. Going down the line, 832 area code is next.
Shalom.
Shalom. You got about 1 minute. Talk to us. Gathering of Christ Church.
Okay, so I just wanted to make a point with about these mothers that were giving their daughters to R. Kelly, and what they're actually teaching their daughters as far as what they're doing for money. I wanted to kind of pin it with women who are in the black community is teaching their children as far as doing things for money when it comes to the government. I've seen women who would play crazy to get a check and then teach it to their children, tell their children what to say when they go into the doctor to play crazy so that they can get a check.
Oh my goodness.
And, you know, just the whole supplemented system, government assistant thing that they do, and then they teach it to their children, and it's a perpetual thing of living off the government that their mother did, and now they're doing it, and they basically become like professional scammers of the government.
So it's selling yourself even from the parents or the mother is teaching dishonesty to their children to get paid by the government, going there and saying, listen, I have a mental disability, so go in there and they will prep the child to claim that the child have a mental disability to receive a Social Security check.
Right.
Correct. And so this is the same. I was connecting it with the whole, even prostituting your daughter that way with the system.
Well, if this is going on in our system, and you know what, sister, I have witnessed some of this in our communities. You know that it exists. Then that gives people like R. Kelly, who was dealing with those things, allegedly or whatever it might be, that gives them access to people who are used to selling their children for nothing. That's deep in itself. Thank you. I'm gonna place you on hold. Man, great points. 253 area code. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Next.
I was already on.
Okay, let me go now. No, you was already on. Let me go to the next one now. I'm sorry. We have someone from the 701 area code going down the line. You're live with the...
Let me take the speaker, Elder, just a second.
Yes.
Yeah, I just have to take up the Shalom family. Yeah, you know, I don't watch much TV at all. I really just listen to you guys talk because I know you guys will tell it all. But it sounds like, you know, with me not really knowing that R. Kelly may have told him he wasn't going to do something that they wanted him to do. I don't know, you know. But anyway, I just really appreciate you guys, and I will just listen to the rest of the comments. Elder, please, I'm going to send you an email. I'm the one who called you the one morning real early about the paper not coming through, me not joining the December 23rd class. I'm going to send you an email about that, and I need to speak with you about a very important matter. And when I send you an email, if you can just contact me and let me know the best time to talk to you, that would be totally awesome. Shalom, I love the family, and I look forward to meeting you guys. Thank you.
Okay, let me have your name, sister. Your name? Okay, I'll call and get it. Don't worry about it. Next call.
I'm sorry?
Your name, sister.
Oh, she.
I'll call and get it. Now, next, 574 area code. Just going down the line real quick. The Gathering of Christ Church, 974 area code. Okay, going down the line, 501 area code, Broken Children, not surviving R. Kelly, surviving Babylon. 870 area code. Shalom. Okay. Going right along. 979 area code. Let me see. Is there anyone left? 605 area code. Did we do that yet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. 913, we did that. 253, we did that. Okay, I think we've covered all of the calls for today. We thank you for being with us in our weekly broadcast. And like I said, for years we've had broadcasts on many different topics and discussions. And we would resolve these discussions with the Bible. Some people might ask, well, why are we going into this and all this? Because what? Hip hop music and who's over it is actually a religious imposition against God's people. So we have to use all of these talking points to bring resolve according to the Most High God. And the resolve is the children of Jacob, we were born in this war. We were born into a war. Okay? R. Kelly and other children are born into a war. They're born without any parental protection. And a lot of our people, a lot of our children are being exploited and molested in this system. And it's time that our parents stand up, stop turning a blind eye to this, and realize the children that are being cultivated in our communities. R. Kelly, before a victimizer, was a victim. And with that, I'm going to say, Shalom, you stay strong and never fall for the synagogue of Satan's games. When they have all these Me Too movements and they're aiming things towards any of our brothers and sisters, right or wrong, understand that venom is aimed towards all of us. They're not looking for repentance. They're not looking for a healing. They're looking to destroy the children of Jacob. And that's who we are. We are the children of Israel. And this is the gathering of Christ Church. Shalom.
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 Surviving Babylon. Right here, right?
Mm-hmm. The elders of the Gathering of Christ Church would like to invite you to enroll in the new upcoming Hebrew and Bible Academy, which begins December 23rd. The Academy is a 3-month online course which includes 12 live biblical lessons taught by the elders every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We deliver weekly analyzed news with Elder Rakah and Deacon Shapat with commentary on how it relates to Bible prophecy. Elder Rakah insightfully teaches each online Bible lesson in a personal classroom setting to enrich your learning experience. Additionally, Elder Loya provides an introduction to the original Hebrew language, including grammar and conversational Hebrew. For new and returning students, now is a great time to enroll, as we are happy to announce that we have added never-before-taught lessons on Daniel 9, the prophecy of the final 7 years, the Battle of Armageddon, and the 1,000-year reign. This intensive course has been meticulously customized and enriched with PDF booklets and downloadable videos, automatically emailed to you after every live lesson. Enroll today at historytimes.org or email us at gatheringas1@aol.com. We look forward to seeing you there. The elders of the Gathering of Christ Church would like to invite you to enroll in the new upcoming Hebrew and